right, so we're going to do a brief update on BTC. Price has been ranging pretty heavily for a while here. Sentiment is not very good, which is interesting, right? Because we're not very far from all-time highs, about 26% away from all-time highs, right? So prices, I mean, we're still trading 58K, the previous cycle topped at about 69. So, we really are still trading in this upper range zone. I still do like this as something of a wave forward that will eventually have expansion towards the upside. And I think that price is really setting us up for a super powerful move to the upside here. Now, it's just a matter of when. And I've been saying this for quite some time that we should expect a lot of boring price action over the summer. Obviously, that's what we've gotten. It's been very sideways, right? So last week, I drew out this scenario here where price, and I'll sort of explain why I had this thought process, where price sort of ranges here, gets moved to the upside, has some kind of rejection somewhere around 65, maybe as high as 67, and then we get a move down into this zone here. And my thought process is that everybody who's longing in here, we get into this zone, they get very, very bullish. They don't take profits, expect price to have continuation. They get round tripped, stopped out, and liquidated for then the real move to the upside. I think that this plan still holds some validity here. Like, I do think that this is still possible, but I want to walk you through something else that is on my mind right now, and it's entirely based on this wick here. So it's good to keep this scenario in mind, and I just want to highlight another possibility for us to keep an eye on in the event that price, instead of getting a move up from here, just go straight down, and what that might look like and how we can be prepared for it. So funding rates are negative, right? But delta is virtually neutral here. So either one of these scenarios could happen where we get the move up or we get the move down. If we do get the move down, my setup for it is almost entirely based on this wick here. And what I'm going to be looking for, something that you'll often find with these wicks, is that the price will come down and fill about 50% of the wick. So, somewhere in this 51 to 52K range here is where I would look for that to happen. And so if I did a little bit of analysis here, and if we take a look at it, what we have is this sort of green box here. And in this green zone, we have a high volume node, which comes from this price action here. That high volume node stretches across, so that would be an area of support because, of course, price spent some time here creating some market structure support in the event that it was revisited. And we also have a daily naked point of control at about 52K 800. In addition, we have this previous month low. So what I would look for in that scenario would be a deviation of the previous month low here, right? Down to this zone to test this downward trend line that has acted as support for quite some time. Hit this high volume node / daily naked point of control zone. There are a handful of other things in here. For example, it was a previous month naked point of control as well. I can't remember the month. It may have been June. I think it may have been June or maybe July. Let me look here. Yeah, possibly could have been a July or maybe even earlier. No, it must have been back in here. It's a previous monthly naked point of control that stems from this zone here and pushes over. It's at about 51,800 as well. So there's a lot of reasons to see why this area could hold a support in the event of a back test. And I just want to show you kind of something like what that would look like is for price to have this sort of wick here to come down, retest this zone, and then have that move up for continuation back into this upwards channel or this upwards range in this area here, right? And just to give you even a little bit more of a perspective on what this would look like if we go down to lower time frames, inside this wick here, it actually shows you kind of an example of what I'd be looking for, where price has this wick, right? Now, if we can, again, just bring us back to the daily, imagine, right, that wick on the daily. So we have this wick, and then price comes down. We get two full body candles and then followed by a bullish engulfing candle here. This candle is really important. It shows that there is demand and that this area is going to hold a support. So when you see something like this, it gives you a place for your stop loss, right? Either here or here. And then you simply long on the closure and target higher. So this is something that I want to see. But of course, on this daily time frame, where price gets that move down into this zone here, right? Where we have sort of those double candles here. And then we have a bullish engulfing candle with a lot of buying power to show that there is demand in this zone. And then we would go ahead and ladder in long. And so what I would look to do is I'll be adding some long position in here with my stop below this low here. And then I'm going to look for further confirmation with proof of demand on a bullish engulfing candle after hitting this zone, right? So kind of getting that setup that I showed you on that 1 hour for then that continuation to the upside. And this is a fractal from that 1 hour setup. And you can see how that would sort of play out if we just had that continuation to the downside, hit the zone here, get that sweep, and then, look for some degree of continuation to the upside. So this would ultimately be a deviation play on the previous month low, as well as filling halfway, at least around halfway through this wick here on the daily time frame, getting to this high volume node, hitting this daily naked point of control zone, look for the reclaim as well as the bullish engulfing. So there will be a lot of signs to show us that this zone is holding a support, that this setup is playing out, and that demand is there for us to long and look to have some degree of continuation to the upside. So ultimately this is going to be my kind of a swing long zone for me that I want us to be prepared for. Again, the other scenario being that price simply gets a move to the upside here, in which case maybe we can look for some kind of a short position, right? Back down into this zone as per this drawing that I did from last week. So for me right now, these are the two scenarios and the two zones that I have in mind that I want us to be prepared for. We can maybe do some lower time frame trading this week, but ultimately, if I'm going to be looking to enter with size and for a swing position, I'm going to look down into this zone here for a long, and then into this zone here for some kind of a short. And again, if we do get that move into here first, instead of a move down first, then, maybe we can go back into this plan and kind of start to look for something like this, right? But ultimately, given what I'm seeing in the weakness and the lack of demand here, I think it's really important that we are prepared for price to first get this move down into this zone, to which now we can be prepared to know what to look for in order to get a good long swing long setup here. So we'll go ahead and close it out there. I'll do my 1 trade in 1 minute setups throughout the week. I'm going to do some analysis on some altcoins, especially Solana is one that I do want to watch. I'm seeing a similar setup here on BTC, is maybe on the same thing that we'll see with Solana. So keep an eye out for those. I'll continue to update you guys throughout the week. But for now, this is especially what I'll be looking for and just having my alerts set, being prepared for either the scenario where we get the move down first or the move to the upside.